Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Community Cup! The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Let's go! In this playthrough I'm going to give you all the holes that we're going to play from the front tee. And I'm going to give you the elevation, all the adjustment that I feel. Have in mind that this is not the win that we're going to have in the tournament. So we need to just have that in mind. It's going to be a new playthrough for Rookie when the tournament has started. But get down to it, to start taking the notes, start practicing them is important. So we start up with the Meadow Castle. And this is a par 3 and I'm going to give you two type of play here. One where I'm going to play with a very a low level when it comes to distance with a rocket, and then I'm going to play and also play with a basic ball. The drive here you can see on the Meadow Castle, it has a very wide fairway. We're just going to play it straightforward, no overpower in any form, and the reason I'm playing without overpower is to show you that you don't have to play this one in a super aggressive way to still have a chance to making an albatross from distance. For the second shot I'm going to play with a Viper. That is not a club that gives us that much distance either. And that's important to have in mind that we go into the tournament. You can go with overpower as well if you want to. You don't have to. The only difference is going to be that you're going to play with a long iron. And of course, playing with a long iron compared to a wood club is going to at least generally be easier for you to get the ball to get in the hole. So our opponent playing with a long iron. And going to bounce here and getting it to the green. Very close, get in. I would like you to, for the second shot, to add 5% to your adjustment due to the slight downhill approach. Very important, I would say, especially if you do have a little bit higher wind to play with. Now, in a tournament, we will not have 1 mile per hour in wind with a basic ball. We're most likely going to have like 4, 5, or 6 miles per hour with a basic ball. Second bounce on the just on top on the fringe there. 3 bars backspin. And then we're going to adjust our shot. You can see we are in max distance of our club, but it's not in a max distance that we do have the overpower, and that's super important, and that's a big reason why I wanted to show you two type of approaches here. Bounce very nicely, come in, get in then. So close. Okay, approach number 2, it's going to be basically the same way, only that we're going to play this one as aggressive as we can. We first play with a driver that gives us the most distance, which in this case is going to be the extra mile level 5. Max topspin, max side spin to the right, and we're going to go max overpower. Once again, we have a very wide fairway, so we're going to have no problem in this case to get this ball to stop on the fairway. If you feel uncomfortable playing with overpower, once again, don't play with it. That's why we had the first scenario, so you can see that you're not going to be out of the game just because you don't have a power 3 ball or not having a driver that do have distance. Important to know. Now, after this drive, we are not going to be close to the green in that matter, but we're going to be close enough to play with a long iron. And at least for myself, I do value a long iron approach higher, or like as a better opportunity to drop than a wood club. But you can see our opponent plays with a basic ball, no problem to reach almost 350 yards. So, time to get this ball in the hole here. And you can see here, I'm not even in the max distance. I'm more in medium distance of my club with the backbone here, or like minimum / medium distance here. Aim straight at the hole as standard. We do add 5% to the downhill number as we did in the first example as well. And then we're gonna take the shot and get it in the hole. Just going to be slightly less than 1 ring, not much. And once again, we don't have to play with a power 3 ball. That's why there's 2 options here. So please don't stare yourself blind on a power 3 ball here. It's just an alternative. Get in the hole. Boom. Hole number 2, a par 3 of the Meadow Castle as well. Here, I do want you to play with a ball with less power. Otherwise, we're going to most likely be in between clubs, which I'm going to struggle with because I'm going from a regular course, like the last course we played here with a power 3 ball. This was the shoot I got afterwards, so then I can change ball. But I would love to play with a basic ball here, or as much a Marlin ball, for 2 reasons. we don't want to be in between clubs, but also we do not want to spend a power 3 ball on a shootout. That's not going to be the case in this tournament at all. Very, very well done from our opponent. Get in the hole. So our turn, see if we can replicate getting this ball into the hole. But you can see here, take a look here directly in the beginning here, how close I am to be in between clubs. So going to drag it down here, you can see, there it comes. So I'm super close to be in between clubs, and that's not that we do want to do. I'm going max backspin here, and I do suggest you do that yourself as well. As minimum 3 bars of backspin on your long iron is what I want you to have. That's very important. We do over adjust 10% due to the downhill approach. And then we're going to take our shot. I'm aiming for the fringe there. You can do that if you want to. Just have in mind 3 bars of backspin. Play with a power 0 ball with your long iron. Close. Hole number 3. This is the Namhae Cliffs. So now we're going to go and we're going to play with a big topper. Here's also going to be an aggressive approach. And therefore I'm going to play with a power 3 ball, max top spin and a little bit of side spin to the right. And I'm also going to go max overpower with tailwind with a big topper here on this island approach. It's not necessary to play with overpower, but I rather want to miss. I would say miss in the way that I'm going to bounce over into the rough on the right or into the rough on the left, instead of risking going short and drop down into the water. What do you do if you do not have tailwind or you don't have a big topper? Or I would say like this, you need to have tailwind and big topper. I don't want to play with big topper and crosswind. So if you don't have tailwind and big topper, what do you do then? You choose a driver that gives you the most distance possible, combined with at least 3 bars of backspin, so you can land on the island. The question I get from many players then, why don't we use the big fairway on the left? The reason is that even though we're going to make a good drive here, we are going to struggle because we're going to go short with having the possibility to reach over to the right after taking our drive. It's going to require, we'll go with max overpower. It's going to most likely require us to have a power 3 ball as well, because the difference between an XMI level 2, 3, 4 combined with an Apocalypse level 5 is kind of huge, and we do need that extra distance there from the side. Also, if we do play and lay up either on the island, or if we would still be going on the left side, we need a wood club with distance. And that shot, playing from the island, is going to be 40% extra in terms of elevations. We'll play that one massively downhill, but now we are in very short range and going to have a short iron for the pin. Good opportunity for the albatross. So, depending on the wind that we're going to have in the tournament, we might going to see some albatrosses here. If you are, I would say, if you're a bit smart, thinking about using the big topper, you can use the big topper even in level 1 if you do have tailwind. You just need to play with a power 4 or power 5 ball there instead. So you can play this one with basic ball, you can play this one with whatever power ball you may want. But of course, if we do want to reach over and go aggressively, then we in that case need to play with a power 3 ball at least. Hole number 4, another course of the Namhae Cliffs, and here is 2 things to think about here. Do we want to play with a long iron? Yes, we do. And therefore, we need to pick the Goliath. Even though you have it in level 1 or level 2, we do need the distance with the Goliath. Because then we can play with a power 0 ball. We can play with the basic ball or a Marlin ball. Or if you want to play with a power 1 ball, power 2 ball as well. But we can play with a low level power ball. So that's important to know. The thing that happens here though is that we are going to get ourselves in a situation where I'm going to have the backbone as a club, which means I'm going to be in between clubs when it comes to approaching here with a basic ball. So I'm going to have to play with my big dog, which is not something I do want to do. So what do we do then? If we are going to still want to play with a long iron, we might not have the Goliath, we do have the backbone. Then we need to play with a power 2 ball at least to give ourselves the distance enough to go for the pin. We play it downhill 10%. That's super important because the ball is going to be affected more by the wind than normal. Use 2 to 3 bars of backspin with your long iron and then you will be good. If you do find yourself with a wood club, use 4 to 5 bars of backspin in tailwind here and then you're going to be good. So let's go to hole number 5 in this playthrough, and we're going to go and check one of the Namhae cliffs again. This is a short par 4, and here it is very important that we do go for green if we do have the wind for it. If we would be having headwind, or we might not be having an extra mile in any form, then we need to play as our opponent is doing to go on the right side. And going on the right side will of course decrease the opportunity and the possibility to get an eagle from distance. But if you do want to play on the right side, you need to have in mind two things. First, we do play downhill 10%, so you need to add 10% to your adjustment. Second shot, the same there as well. We'll play downhill and we need to add 10% there as well. So here I'm going to play with a power 3 ball, and we do need a power 3 ball to be able to stay away from having to overpower that much. And the reason I say that I don't want to play this way in headwind in any form is because then I need to play with max overpower, and will we like having max overpower, that would be a very hard shot, and we would be risking the water, and that is a risk that we do take. And in this case here, we're going to use the tailwind and the topspin, going to bounce on the fairway, bounce into the rough and roll out. Kind of in a best case scenario, we're going to drop just after the rough to roll to the pin, and then we need 3 to 3.5 bar topspin. Using more topspin would risk going over the green completely. I'm going to have a long putt, and also if we're using less, we're going to get stuck in the rough. I'm okay with this type of shot. It would give me a very easy wedge, and I'm not going to struggle with that in any form. And it would be different though if I would be, let's say, no, not different, but let's say I would be having a more distance away from the pin, but getting to the fringe there is definitely going to be super helpful in terms of getting the eagle from distance. The thing that we do need to have in mind playing on the left side as well, or like playing on the island, is that you need to over adjust 10% there as well. Super important, otherwise we're going to have a struggle when we're playing there on the island. Make sure that when you play here and try to go for the green, that you're not going short on the green. It's like if I would be just rolling out on the green, I would be having a max overpower putt, or even then I wouldn't be able to reach for the green, for the pin, for the eagle. And that is kind of a worst case scenario. We always want to have a chance. Getting up, get it in, and get in the hole. So hole number 6, par 3, Juniper point, a course that we did play not that long ago in a tournament, and therefore it's going to be, as I did the last time, you have two ways. We either go directly for the pin, or we're going to use the right side of the green to let the ball fall back down towards the pin. This green is very forgiving, and it's going to be a super easy birdie. The only thing for you to think of when it comes to risk factors is to not play as close to the bunker on the left. So we do need to give ourselves some room so we can hit the ball great, either left or right side, and still being on the green. If you just reach for the green, it's going to be a super easy birdie, and we're gonna, yeah, and then that's just how it's going to be. Do need to add 10% to your adjustment. We're playing downhill, and therefore the ball is going to be affected more by the wind. If we, let's say, would be playing with a 4 or 5 mile per hour headwind, we have to choose if we do want to change ball, or we do have to go with a landing position further back and bounce there to the pin. I'm using 2 bars of backspin as a general approach with the spin, and you can basically use whatever there. It's going to be an absolute possible hole-in-one, and you're going to see some opponents doing that, so make sure that you're at least giving yourself the chance. Hole number 7. Hole number 7 is going to be the Meadow Castle again, the last of the 3 Meadow Castle, short par 4, and here we're going to go for the green. I'm going to show you 2 examples here, and once again it's like hole number 1. If you watched hole number 1 with explanation there, it's like either we pick a driver that gives us accuracy and ball guide, and we play with a basic ball, we lay up and we go for the eagle from distance. We save our power 1, power 2, power 3 balls, and stuff like that. So we're not going to risk anything, or not risk anything. We're not going to push it that hard. You can use overpower as well, even though you're using a basic ball, and be close, at least in a wedge range, on this Meadow Castle hole. You can see how short it is, and having a rocket level 8 being so super close to the green with a basic ball is, I would say, this must be the shortest par 4 that we do have in the whole game. And that you can picture yourself, let's say you have an extra mile with a power 3 ball, that would definitely be an opportunity for you to get the ball to the green directly. And in the second example, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for the pin directly. So first example here, using a club that is a blue club, has better accuracy, but also have a better ball guideline, doesn't have that much distance, rocket, and we're also playing with a basic ball, and we're going to land, and we're going to have a wedge for the pin. Good way to have in mind when you are playing, as for the way of saving balls, all from saving from playing with power 1, power 2, power 3, which we can only get from chests, or that we do need to buy them in the Golf Cash shop. But then as well, you know, do you want to compete for the gold? If you do want to compete for the gold, this is going to be a must eagle, and then we need to find a way, in as easy way possible, to get to the green in one, or like at least super close, so you know that no matter how you're going to hit your wedge, you're still going to get it in. And that we're going to do if we're going to play with a club that gives us more distance, but also going to give us more distance when it comes to using a different ball. We get it in here, the eagle here from distance, no problem with the wedge. And here you can see the second example, and now I'm going to play with an extra mile and a power 3 ball. You can see 4.5 bar top spin, max side spin, and you can see here I'm going to use a little bit of overpower, but we're not going to need that much. Let's say you would be having a tailwind, it's almost that you don't need any overpower whatsoever. Around 50% of overpower, we're hitting this ball perfect. I could have played it a little bit more to the left, but you can see the result here is going to end up, we roll there to the green, roll up to the fringe, and going to have a super easy wedge to make an eagle. And so this is an alternative. It's a good way to get to the green, but once again, short par 4, there is a good way to play with, even with just a basic ball. Hole number 8, par 4 off the Juniper point, and here we go for green again. Oh my god, I feel that I'm repeating myself with the go for green thing, but we do have several short par 4s, or like all the par 4s are courses that we do go for green. And here we're going to go with the club that gives us the most distance. We're going to use a power 2 at least with a side spin 3, which gives us two options. It's going to be the katana or a kingmaker. In this example, I'm choosing a katana, but I would say if you do have a bunch of kingmakers, play with a kingmaker. It gives you more power, so you don't have to overpower as much. Or at least you are going to give yourself an opportunity to roll it down towards the green. We have 4.5 bar side spin here, and I'm using max side spin to the left, or at least as much as I can when I'm having the 4.5 bar top spin. Now I'm going to aim up, so I'm going to stretch it out a little bit, and I'm just going to try to picture myself where I'm going to aim, and then I'm going to go max overpower with as much curl that I can get. The curl, I would like you to use as maximum 75% of the ball outside the adjustment range to the left. Using more, we're going to over curl it. Using less, we're going to potentially put the bunker on the right in play. Now I'm super close here to the pin, and it's going to give myself a good opportunity for an eagle. This is also, depending on the wind, I would say, if we do get tailwind here, and crosswind, it's going to be a must eagle. If we do have headwind, this is not going to be a must eagle. It's going to be more like a, if you do have the club for it, you can go over. Otherwise, you have to play safe. 10% downhill for the drive, very important. So we do have in mind that the ball is going to be affected a little bit more by the wind. If we do have headwind, or we don't feel comfortable going with overpower, or we maybe not have an extra mile, so we have a club that has less distance, then we need to play on the right side of the bunker, the big bunker we do have in the beginning. We lay up there using a 10% over adjustment for the drive, then we play and approach the pin from distance with our long iron. So here I do have a wedge, trying to find a way to just try to find a funnel there on the green to make the ball roll down towards the pin in a very nice way. Couldn't find it, so therefore I'm going with a little bit longer wedge instead. So after that short par 4, like 2 short par 4s, we're going to end up with a par 5, and this is going to be a par 5 which is going to be tricky in the form of that we're going to find ourselves sometimes in between clubs. Sure, as I said in the regular hole guide, it's going to be super easy if we do have like higher level clubs and clubs with more backspin, but the problem here with lower level clubs is that you're not going to have that much or that good stats on your, especially your wood club. So we're gonna first talk about the drive. The drive you can do in 2 ways. Either you use a basic ball you're playing before the bunker on the left, or you're using a ball with a little bit of power. It's enough with a power 1 or a power 2 ball, then we can drive safely over the bunker on the left and give ourselves the possibility to go with a wood club from more as a minimum or a medium distance. I do want us to make sure though that if we do want to drive over the rough here, we do need to have a ball with side spin when we approach the pin, because we are otherwise going to have the trees in our face and going to have to rely on curl, and that's going to be tough. Also, do not use too much topspin. The more topspin we're using, or let's say like this, the further we do drive here on the fairway, the harder it's going to be to play around the trees. So what do we do then? It's like, first check your bag. Do you have a club with at least 5 bars of backspin when it comes to a wood club? And that is going to be possibly a Guardian in level 1 or higher, or it's going to be a more upgraded Sniper or a more upgraded Viper. Those are basically the options that you do have there. And if you don't have that, then you need to actually, in my opinion, go with a more aggressive approach if you do want to have a decent opportunity for the Albatross. That is that you use a power 3 ball, max curl, max topspin, max overpower to the right, and going to try to land up in the same type of distance that we do have the second bunker on the left, but more to the right, so you do have an open shot for a short iron or a long iron. You can see here now I have to underpower my shot because the backspin I'm having is not enough, and that is not a super approach that we're looking for. Now we're just going to land it there, and it's going to be on the green safely for an eagle though, but we always want to find at least one way to make an Albatross attempt there in a good way. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this playthrough for Rookie Division in the Community Cup. Have in mind, this is not the tournament win that we're going to get. We don't know that until the tournament starts, and then there will of course be a new playthrough out to give you the best possible adjustment for it. If you do want to get the text guide for the Community Cup, then check out patreon.com/golf-tommy. If you do want to have a training session during the Community Cup to get help to maybe achieve that score that you do want, also patreon.com/golf-tommy. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. The Community Cup is a cup, or like a tournament, there players in the community has been voting for these holes, so it's going to be super interesting to see the scores that's going to get. I do see us going to go very low with the score. I would be not surprised if we would be seeing a multiply -30 scores. So it's going to be necessary to get the par 4s, the short par 4s, and also going to get one of the par 5s maybe, and maybe a par 3. So, the video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Community Cup!